passage through the jungle. The sun dipped below the horizon as Sarah, Kevin, and Liam ventured deeper into the dense jungle of Taman Rimba, an uncharted expanse rumored to harbor unsettling secrets. They were urban explorers, chasing thrills and stories to share, but none of them had expected the overwhelming silence that cloaked the jungle as night fell. "Where's the wildlife?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible. There were no chirping insects, no rustling leaves, only an oppressive quiet. Kevin laughed nervously. "Maybe they're scared of us." Liam, the most cautious of the group, studied the map with a flashlight. "We should set up camp soon. It's getting dark fast." As they unpacked their gear, a strange sound echoed through the trees, a distant wail that sent chills down their spines. "What was that?" Sarah asked, clutching Kevin's arm. "Probably just the wind," he replied, though his eyes darted nervously toward the shadows. That night, as the group huddled around a small fire, Sarah noticed something odd. The flames flickered violently, despite the still air. Then came the footsteps, slow, deliberate, and far too heavy to belong to an animal. "Someone's out there," Liam said, his voice tense. He grabbed a machete for protection and called out, "Who's there?" No response. The footsteps stopped, but the jungle seemed to grow darker, the trees pressing closer together. Kevin stood up, shining his flashlight into the void. Its beam landed on a figure, tall, cloaked, and motionless. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the light. "What the hell is that?" Kevin muttered, backing away. The figure vanished in an instant, as if the jungle itself had swallowed it. "Let's pack up and move," Liam urged. "We can't stay here." The trio hurriedly gathered their things and followed the faint trail they had marked earlier. But the trail was gone, replaced by an endless stretch of identical trees. "We're going in circles," Sarah said, her voice breaking. Panic set in. Shadows moved unnaturally at the edges of their vision, and the faint wailing sound returned, growing louder. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Then Kevin stopped abruptly. "Do you see that?" he whispered, pointing ahead. A tree stood in their path, but it wasn't like the others. Carved into its bark were symbols, ancient and ominous. Blood-red sap oozed from the markings, pooling at its roots. "Let's go back," Sarah begged, pulling Kevin's sleeve. Before they could move, the ground beneath them trembled. A chilling voice echoed around them, speaking in a language they couldn't understand. The air grew icy, and the wailing became an unbearable cacophony. Out of the darkness, the cloaked figure reappeared, closer this time. Its glowing eyes locked onto them as it raised a skeletal hand. "Run." The word wasn't spoken, but forced into their minds. They obeyed, sprinting blindly through the jungle. The trees seemed to part just enough to let them pass, but closed in behind them. Hours, or perhaps minutes later, they stumbled out into an open clearing. The jungle's oppressive weight lifted, replaced by the soft glow of dawn. Panting and trembling, they turned to see the jungle's edge shrouded in mist. The wailing had ceased, but the memory lingered. "Never again," Kevin whispered, his face pale. The jungle remained behind them, silent once more. But deep within its heart, the figure still watched, waiting for the next intruders.